What's going on? It's rockmonkey. We got another coaching session, this time for LIAN, from our buddy Admin Mandem, the Masters player. Before we start, everyone remember to be nice. These players are sacrificing their emotional well-being to be criticized on YouTube. So thanks for that. To start off, the build is okay. I like present arms. I like it on 4 a bit more. LG5 is solid. I think you really need to be running HP though. 50% cooldowns is quite the commitment. And against an Andrew with the Genos pocket, who normally does 600 damage per shot, times the 15% damage boost, that ends up being 690 damage per shot. And then of course if it shoots you 3 times, you'll take 2070 damage. So yeah, running a little bit of health will really help you out in that duel. So you don't get 3 shot like you do in this VOD. Spoilers. And of course he's running Eminence. So let's just take a quick look at the comp and figure out what each team does. The enemy team has Genos, Nara, Androxus, Victor, Grover. So a lot of heals, no off tank, but they have a flank with a Genos pocket. They don't have to worry about a tank flanking you, and their sustain is a little bit awkward if Grover's on high ground, but they have a lot of range damage and they have a pretty big playmaker with the Andro Genos pocket. So you want to be careful on high. You don't want to get rooted into like Victor need and spam, or ulted and rooted, or there's a lot of things that can go bad. Or just shot at by 2 long-range damage dealers. Your team has the BK, so it's safe to assume BK Khan pretty much win stone every time, or BK Barrack and then Barrack rotates out of stone. So you don't have to worry about any funny business from stone. And there's probably gonna have a lot of pressure on the right side of the map. And yeah, you should be okay as long as you can live a 1v1 or play around Furia. Alright, let's do it. You don't really want to overexpose yourself. You want to play certain angles and certain covers that give you options and an exit out. So here's an angle right here. It's about the cutoff where you can be playing on either side of this line, and then you can just rotate back and forth depending if you want to peek or hide. Whereas if you play here, you're kind of exposed all the way until you get behind this little X over here. So you're kind of more exposed, unless you have your dash, but they do have a route, so you gotta be a little bit careful. I also like to play inside against something like this. That way you have cover from that as well. If you play inside, you can handle long range poke, but you can also handle an Andro flanking from any one of these positions. So just very exposed, as you see. Immediately right here, this is your scary thing, because they can't actually kill you if you move to the right. For thinking ahead, this is our biggest threat. Let's shoot this guy and LOS these guys. That way we're the safest we can be. A lot of damage taken and cleaned up quite brazenly by the Androxus. So everyone just died. This is a situation where if you're a flanker you try to get behind, but if you're damaged you try to set up for anyone who tries to zone too aggressively, and you try to hold space without dying. I don't really like playing on the right side over here, because he can actually take your house and then play off your angle and then rotate over here and then dismount everybody. And it's kind of awkward to deal with it, because you would have to flank through here, which can be shot from pretty much anywhere. So if you roll out this way through this house, you can grab a buddy, maybe you're con spawning now, and you can take your house back and possibly kill the Androxus. Whereas this position, you get good damage, but it's kind of awkward to capitalize, and yeah, go the other way. I think that was the 3 body shots coming into play that we talked about earlier. The HP will help you there. And you kind of looked away from the Andro a little bit. Whenever you look away from your threat, like if someone can kill you in the next 1.5 seconds, pretty good idea to be really careful with looking away. Because you looked at Genos, you can't really do anything about Genos. You can shoot him once, but then just be ready. As soon as Andro shows his face, just look at him. Also, I think you hold your dash too much. As soon as somebody looks at you, you can screw up their aim by dashing and changing your angle, and then maybe buy time for the con to come save you. Holding your dash until your death is definitely not what you want to do. So get help there, or change your macro rollout, or use your dash sooner. Rolled.
Mortals are so fragile.
Enemy killing spree.
damage. Dropping's okay. I might have stayed up a tiny bit longer and poked the Vic down. Oh, almost got him. That would have been sick. He almost got 2 kills there.
But thanks.
Push the payload. Stop the payload.
I probably would have went for a collat on the Angel Grover and tried to go for a kill. But this is fine. So the Genos is dead and the Grover just died. All the scary stuff is already through. So you have an opportunity to spawn camp 2 healers right now. You go for the Vic, which is okay.
Please give up.
There it's much safer if you either play this wall for a little bit and juggle your Victor and your dismounts. That's the safest option. If you hit your Q, you can hard engage on him, but it's pretty hard if you don't hit your Q. Like if you miss this, you're probably gonna die if you keep pushing.
Please give up.
I'd play the cover or go for the healer spawn camp.
It's a new dawn.
It's fine.
They flanked us.
Kind of made the Fury chase you a little bit, but it's not too big of a deal.
Enemy killing spree.
This is an okay position. It's a little bit scary because it's 45 and it's really easy to engage on you.
Step into the light.
Almost took a lot.
Heal me.
Enemy killing spree.
You could have got that Vic. Start shooting him as soon as he gets stunned.
I expect
That way you don't have to
later.
have your Fury shoot him or waste your time. Or in the future if it matters more. Remember to look at our threats right there. You should definitely avoid this nade. Dashing backwards is the safest option. You kind of just sat on it. Oh, and you went in the open. So play your cover there, or you could hard engage as soon as he nades to dodge it, but it's not really a good idea. You should play stone, or you should play on top of the bridge and play your cover. Oh, what if you pre-fire that Q for that Grover? You're just holding him safe. That's okay.
15 seconds.
I heard Angel use his dashes. Didn't see if he hit his Q though. That's a good spot. Nice pick. You heard Andrew Nash, so just immediately look towards him.
3, 2, 1.
Yeah, it was okay. See if you hold the same spot. You're more cautious this time. You're not tanking them as much, which is good. Would have liked you to just wait 1 more second and then dash on the stone when you have your Q and then go for the burst on the Vic. That's a really strong combo with LIAN. If somebody's playing anywhere up here, even further down here, you dash on the stone, this thingy, and you hit them with your combo, your Q, left click, right click, dash stuff. And usually they die. And you even have your ult even if you mess it up. So that's pretty nuts. Could have killed him pretty easily. Here he doesn't really need your help. This guy is dead no matter what. Either he gets thrown into the wall and then gripped and comboed, or he gets thrown into the lava. So your input doesn't really matter, but this Grover pick is huge. I think we're ignoring the important target. You could shoot the Vic once if you want to be really safe, but he was half HP and he was in your LOS. Now he's kind of like jiggle picking you and he's full. But that Grover was definitely killable. And then you spawn camp the Genos and... No, if you can, I probably would have went for it because I go too aggro. But yeah, that Grover pick would have been nice. You have an option to flank here. They already saw you, so it's not like super safe. And this is a safer playstyle. Good damage. Nice timing. Rip. That was fine. You didn't know he was going to get hit with a beam. When you're peeking this bridge, it's important to remember what's around you. In order to shoot the Inara, you have to walk from here all the way to the lip and then look straight down. which, as you can imagine, limits your field of view to pretty much this area. And that isn't very useful to you because you have big scary things right here, the cripple, and you have a Victor right there free firing. So your biggest threat is the most important, unless you can isolate this Grover and kill him. Usually biggest threats are the most important thing. That would be the bridge. He got 2 free burst shots on you, whereas if you were intentionally picking him, you would have came out with a Q pre-fire, and then you might have been able to like left click, right click, kill him. But now you're 1 HP. But whenever you trade with the Victor and you lose the trade, they will nade exactly where you were. Jumping down here is kind of deadly because remember they have stone control and they have somebody point. Usually you die. If you're a little bit quicker, you can run on the level above. You can go through here and then you can just run backwards just on the high ground. And you shouldn't get hit by the grenade if you're nimble about it. I like rolling out up here when after we win. Like if you die and then your team wins the point, I like to go up here and then look down through their like little stone, or play this bridge if they're getting aggro. I don't really like going all the way around. I like the option of high ground faster. You end up getting here anyway, but sometimes it matters more. And I like this lane a little bit more because you get more collats. And you just rotate here if they're pushing too aggro for you. Plus you're stacked with the BK on this bridge. Yeah, I like this lane a little bit more. We heard Andrew dash above us, so he's our biggest threat right now. He might not have heard him. And we're back. This is okay. I probably would have flanked the Andrew and pinched him. Looks like they're gonna do that now. Nice. So 4v4. This isn't a great area for you, but since they're best player in this area, like they don't have an Inari here and they don't have an Andro, so now you're the best in this small tight space. So you should win this. Almost got the collat. See if we can get that Grover. Ooh. Let's hug the wall a little bit sooner. Heard the Andrew dashes. It's our biggest threat. Let's look at him. Looks like you looked away a tiny bit. When you hear Andrew dashing like that, they're definitely going to go over the house. And it's your biggest priority to kill him and live. Here we are. Here, you can start your pre-fire for your Q like right now. That way, if he gets healed, you insta-burst him down. You get it back anyway, especially with your 50% heal limbs. And yeah, if he tags you as you shoot him, then you'll get your health back. Opening up with the 2 left click gives him a chance to shoot you back. And now with the Q, starting up the animation now, is going to get 1 more free shot in. So you actually wasted half your health and probably like a second and a half of your time. So you had to go back and get healed. But if you play that right, then you could just insta-peek these guys and maybe get a kill like that.
30 seconds remaining.
Good damage. The Andrew spawning now, and the Andrew matchup is kind of difficult in this room. It's kind of an ego match if you fight him, because he'd probably be getting this Grover healing if the Grover's playing here or here. And of course he'll get the Genos healing. Alright, here we go. Nice flick. I think you need the dash sooner. If you're holding your dash and you're like towards the middle of the fight and you haven't dashed yet, I think it's too late. I think it's hard. So let me tell you the best way to play that. If you're going for the safer play, then playing this little doorway is okay. He's a little bit better at wall peeking. As soon as he does this, you dash towards the middle of the room. That way he can't LOS you post reversal. There's nothing for him to do. You take control of the center, maybe like right here, and then you just ult. And then when his rev goes down, he's vulnerable and you just kill him with your ult. That's the best way to do it. You can ego it and then use your dash to dodge it and try to dodge headshot him at the end of it. That's the second best way. I probably would have just used my dash way earlier and took center control of room. What what your dash did is you actually let him reset on you, and now he has high ground and a bit more healing. So it's super hard to win that. You just have to take center control and ult him, that's all. Yeah, it's not really winnable. That was okay. Here's some Andrew dash. It's good to get a little bit of poke on him when he's doing that. Good Genos prio. Oh. Everyone's kind of dying around you because you guys stack stone, which is okay if people play around it. I think you should dash like half a second sooner instead of letting him get on you. You take the time to turn and dash. I think you'd just be a little bit more nimble about things. You would have saved yourself a couple hundred health. This is a pretty easy fight against the Vic. You could have queued him there. You kind of let him look at you and then leave for free. Unfortunate waste of queue. So this situation, you might not have known Vic was back high ground, but your biggest priority is not getting crippled. Every Grover opens up with a left click, right click combo. It's like pretty predictable, so it's nice and easy to bait with this cover you have going on. You just have to, like, number one thing is dodging that. Because if he hits you, then you have to ult him to live. Your auto aim doesn't work there because he's hiding his feet. It doesn't work there because you're pretty low. So you instant ult that as soon as he cripples you, and he's kind of like animation locked for another second. Not a full second, but it might be enough to like hitbox glitch him and get the kill. Or you just bait it a tiny bit better and not get crippled. Oh, big collat. So he's behind you. These kind of situations, I always love to ult something and then 180 flick. And usually most people don't know you're going to do that. Because if you're ignoring him, it's making it pretty likely that you'll die post-ult. I respect the clad attempt too. I don't think most people will die to that at this level. That was a good turn. Good Vic damage. You get pretty aggressive. He got the Genos for you. You don't have to. Nice.
The payload. Step into the light and perish.
Mother, protect me.
You definitely didn't have to take that set of pebbles. You knew what was gonna happen, and yeah, and just dash sooner.
I don't say this often.
I probably would have pre-fired a Q and dropped on him, because if he didn't dash out, he's dead there. Could LOS that Grover a tiny bit better with the Vic when you look at an angle and try to isolate things so you don't have to peek more than you have to. That nade is definitely coming. Just like earlier, whenever a Vic trades with you, and usually if he wins, he'll nade that. So just dash backwards so you don't get naded up. If you had more health here, you could have been peeking the Vic. I mean, you probably still should peek him because he's hard focusing your healer, and your healer might die if you don't do something. You would have had more time to kill the Vic, so you probably kill the Vic there if you're just a little bit careful about your decisions. And your healer probably gets out. He did. I like to jump peek this so you have more of an angle. You might have been able to line up a collat. Your Q doesn't have air and accuracy, so going for jump peeks is pretty solid. Did I just nade this time? I don't know, I hit you just now. Oh, maybe the nade glitched. I like to just not drop down when I'm dodging the nade, because I don't like being down here as much. Get this, Andy. I'd like to see you pre-fire things a tiny bit more with your Q. Against really good players, it's kind of hard to see stuff and then start your Q. Usually people bait it. I don't know why you looked away when you did this peek. The way you did it, you went from here, you full dashed, and you were looking this way, and then you slowly turn around and look this way. So now the Genos has a jump on you and you're missing 400 HP already. So just walk out here and then, you know, inspect the area, look down here and look up there and see what's going on. Look at the spawn timers and then assess what you want to do. Because I think you didn't really have to do this. You could just go through here, shoot this guy, and then come up. This situation actually makes you panic a lot more than you would have been otherwise. So you force your ult out. When you're in the center of things, you tend to panic and you have worse vision and worse awareness. So it makes you force things out. You didn't really have to ult there. Right now, this isn't your good room. This isn't for LIAN. You have two really good characters right here that are much better at playing this room. So you need to leave. You definitely don't want to dash in the open when they have a bunch of spawns coming up. You can come through here now that you've done this. I don't know if I'd cross the open. Maybe I wouldn't. It depends on how confident you feel not taking damage. You're playing the open way too much. So there's a position in here that people play, and there's sometimes positions here. You need to be taking the left side. You need to come up to this left room and come up and go on the bridge, or you need to be playing back main. That's where LIAN is better. Playing in the open or playing here with two other people isn't good for you. So you kind of do a thing where you look at something and then walk towards your threats without looking at them. Not that it matters because you're not going to win that anyway, but putting your back into two enemy players makes it much harder to live. If you look towards your threats, you can space them better, and then you probably don't die post round because then you use your back as body blocking. It's not a huge deal, but like you don't really have to die there. I like this role a lot more. It's less susceptible to early burst, and Vic has ult, so. You probably should have died there once you got rooted in the open against Vic ult. Just play with your cover a little bit better. I would probably just push right during this ult. This is okay. This is okay. This is fine. I just like to play more aggro. This is what I was talking about earlier, is what LIAN can do. If you're winning, you dash here and then go for combos with your Q. Oh, you have another Q. Shoot him. Oh, he got away. I don't think I would have dropped down for that. That's not really that amazing of a stun. And you could have done that from up here. Yeah, I'd rather be up here right now, because then you could jump up here and kill the Vic, and then shoot them from behind. Or you could just play up here and have a few more options and better vision. Plus, the Angels, when you're in OT, when they spawn, they like to come up here. And if you're stone, you can deal with that a little bit. I guess Vika's fine without you. I prefer the other position. You're very, very passive in this situation because you're at 85% cap and it's a 5v3 and you're playing like way in the back. Whereas I think this could be you. Like you could be up here doing stuff, or you could be up here doing stuff, or you could have went down in bottom house and dismounted early, or you could be playing top stone and looking for that Andro in the sky. I don't really think this does that much because he's covering all of this and he's covering all of this and he was just covering all of this. I just feel like you have to do stuff, to be honest. Say BK loses this 1v1 and then they pour out through the top. Yeah, I'd like to see more action there. Overall, I think you work on your Qs a little bit. Go for some more pre-fires on stuff you know is there. Your rollouts, they could use a little bit work against high spam and high pressure from the other high ground. You don't want to be in the open against Grover, Root, and Vic. It's probably going to get you killed. And if you take too much damage from somebody spamming you across the mid, you end up getting flanked from an agile flanker like Androxus. You play a bit passive, which could be your style, but I'm seeing openings where you can mount and get more space and go for more plays a little bit. I think your ults, sometimes it's not really an ult issue if you make yourself panic and ult, but your ults can be used to catch people out a little bit more. I saw a few ult snipe plays. If you Q someone from far away and they're way in the open, you could just go for an ult there and just clean them up. It's like an instant combo. Or you can ult Angel Revs out of Revs. That's pretty good. You had a couple opportunities to take a different macro play, like the spawn camp on the Genos. You use your eminence on the tanks a tiny bit too much, especially when they're in DR, where if you look past them, you get a few more kills this game. The biggest thing I think is your angle management and your cover. You die in the open a few times this game. Probably half your deaths could be avoided if you play with cover and you play with your exits strategies a little bit. You're definitely over peaking when you could just isolate, and you're playing when there's no cover opportunity. Look at your threats a little bit more. You're hearing Andro's dash, but you opt to look at something else for a little bit too long, where if you look at your biggest threat, it minimizes the potential for them to take you out. You don't dash early enough in duels. I see you save it for very late in the duel and it ends up taking way too much damage, where if you dash sooner, you get a free shot off and you could reposition and make them have to turn on you more. It makes it more difficult for the enemy and it puts you in a slightly better position. A little mistake with the auto aim, it doesn't hit people that are hiding their feet, but that happens. Your pushes doesn't seem like you know exactly where you want to go. You're not really going to your strongest position on the push. If you take that left house, it does a lot. You pretty much win if you take the left house on a push on this map as a long range damage dealer. And if they're not pressuring you, you can go for a flank and hold a side angle. It's very strong. If you play the right side, it's mostly for like duelers and off tanks and blasters. It can work if no one else is playing there, but it definitely will not work if you 3-stack it. Pretty good plays, man. I would just tell you to take a few more risks and explore what's possible, because there's some opportunities and you always take the safe route. I would like to see a few more plays. Thanks for the VOD, man. Well played. If anyone else wants a coaching session, for right now, I'm doing coaching sessions for subs. So go to my Twitch and subscribe to twitch.tv/rockmonkey. Join my Discord and send me a match ID to my coaching channel, and we'll get to it sometime soon. If you like this kind of content or any other content I do, be sure to like and subscribe and ring that bell to stay updated, because I post almost every day. Thanks for watching. Bye.